cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave.
Good evening, one and all. Good evening. Welcome to this impromptu stream with just myself. It's just me, John. And I thought we'd have a little chat, just one of our little chats that we sometimes have when Ben's either ill or being operated on or just can't be bothered coming. And let's do it. So, what did you think of the pre-roll? Those are apparently images from the ISS. And I really don't like them because, and I'm not going down the flat earth route before we start, right? But I don't like those images because the earth is too curved for the height that the ISS is flying at. It doesn't fly that high. It's only like 250 miles up or something. So it's just really annoying because they're obviously using some kind of wide-angled lens. And the other thing is there's too much land. You see too much land. So if they were far enough to see the earth as curved as that, you would see a lot more sea than you would land. You know, 70% of the earth is ocean, isn't it? So anyway, now Ben has not been taken by aliens. Ben has been taken by his daughter. He is looking after her. So we hadn't decided we were going to do anything. I'm just kind of a loose end. So I thought, rather than drink myself into oblivion, because I'm staying sober, I'm going to come on and just talk to you guys. So we'll see how it goes. So what I thought we'd do, I thought we'd go for a little trip because I was watching something I'd watched many years ago, and I thought, oh, I'll have another look at this. And we're going to go on a journey along with NASA. Remember NASA, never a straight answer. But yeah, we'll go with NASA, and we're going to go initially to Devon Island in Canada. Because Devon Island in Canada has a lot of secrets, doesn't it? Oh. Ben has me on the TV. So, do I look good in 65 inches? Is the TV wide enough for my head? But anyway, let's see if we can get ourselves up here and show you my screen. Oh, there we go. There we go. There's little Chaz. He's come along for the ride as well. He's come along for the ride. Right. So this is Canada. What's going on here? Why are we not seeing the whole thing? Allow me to adjust it, if you may. If you bear with me, just one moment. Allow me to adjust it so we can see all. Oh. Ah, there we go. There we go, people. Right, so this is America, North America, the United States, Mexico, where we're putting our latest missile. No, Russia's not putting missile bases there because that's too close to the United States. They wouldn't allow it. But let's not go into that right now. And this is Canada, and Canada's pretty big. But it also extends up here into these islands, which are a lot of, and during a lot of the year are joined by ice, because this is, I think we're well into the Arctic Circle now. And this is Devon Island, and Devon Island's been used by NASA for many a year now for testing rovers, testing the environment, testing habitats, testing spacesuits, because Devon Island is a pretty good allegory for Mars. And they've even tested the Curiosity rover there. So let's see what this guy's saying. This is the LEAK project, okay? From 6 years ago. And we're just going to dip in and out of it, and we're going to listen to what he's got to say. Let's just check that you can hear him. No, you can't hear him, can you? Let me check that. Right, let's try again.
Way up there by Greenland. It is actually pretty close to Greenland. And let's start looking at some of the actual. Got a whole bunch of images for you guys that I want to share with you. Here is, as you can see, 3 different rovers. You've got the one from 97 all the way to the Curiosity. And, you know, I'm thinking to myself, that small guy there that went out in 97 supposed.
First of all, I'm thinking to myself, what's cracking? I'm not quite sure. What do you mean, what's cracking? Is there a cracking noise or what? So give me some more info. Is it crackling? So anyway, while we're waiting for some feedback there from Web Squirrel, why are these guys in the middle of Devon Island, right, wearing white coats? Why did it? It's not a sterile environment. Why would they want to wear white coats? All right, okay, it means hi, John. Right, fine, that's fine. Right, so I'm not down with the kids. Why are they wearing white coats? What's the point? It's just, I can understand a set of overalls or something, but why are they wearing lab coats? They're not in a lab. Good grief, these NASA people, they just take the biscuit, don't they? Right.
Supposedly to Mars. Would they send something that small to a planet that far away? I mean, would they really do that? Would they risk sending something that small that could easily get destroyed? The more I think about it, I really doubt it. But maybe that's because of the payload and the amount of time and the amount of fuel that they had to use to get it there. Maybe that's all they had at the time. I don't know. I doubt it, but whatever. I would see that these larger ones, it makes a lot more sense that you would see these large.
Right, okay, so he's just talking about the size of the rovers and things. Now, here we are. This is from NASA's site. So this is quite good because what he's showing us now is pictures of the rovers being tested in Devon Island on NASA's site. And that's fine, that's fine.
K-10 rover. It is a black driving on Drill Hill at Houghton Crater, Devon Island.
You can't say Devon.
In the Canadian High Arctic. So K-10 rover, black is the name of it. And looking at these images and the cliffs in the background, the rocks, the dirt, looks identical. Now, once again, you've got the 2004 Spirit Opportunity, the 2012 Curiosity, the 1997 Micro Machine there, and you can also see the different tires that were used on the machines. You can follow the red brick road there. This is the new Mars rover. It looks like something out of the, Star Wars or something. A bunch of stormtroopers are going to come. Brother.
Looks like something that expands.
More people.
Let's see. Right.
Mars.
Here we go.
This is Science Illustrated. Came out August 6, 2012. Read all about it. ScienceIllustrated.com. I'll leave the link to the video description box. A New Era, Dreaming of Mars, Part 3. This is the desert landscape of Devon Island, northern Canada. Quite similar to Mars. Yeah, you don't say.
Yeah, so as I said, you can't say Devon for some reason. But apart from that, NASA's been doing this for a number of years. That's their kind of test habitats for potentially living on Mars. If you think about, see that big white one, it looks like half of a SpaceX rocket anyway, doesn't it? Because you can imagine a SpaceX lander coming down, sticking its legs out like that and landing in Mars, and then the people will live that. They'll live in it until they've built a proper dome or underground structure or something like that. Allegedly. Right? And we'll know where to go because obviously there's Opportunity and Curiosity and all that have been scouting out Mars for many a year now. Many a year. They've even got a helicopter, haven't they? Martian atmosphere's perfectly thick enough to support a bladed helicopter. Yeah. Right. So let's see what else he's saying.
This is actually in Utah. This is in southern Utah.
It's nice.
Kind of by Moab, I'd guess. Beautiful out there, you can see you've got all sorts of lush greenery to look at, beautiful pine trees. Like, where are they at, Rex?
I know
Just joking. There's no pine
these are
trees
quite
there.
good.
What?
This is quite a good picture because this is apparently Ireland. Now, I'm not sure if the one on the right is on NASA's site. I would need to go digging around and see if you could find it, but they have got that many pictures that it's really difficult to find them. But we're going to talk about that, how they get these pictures as well, because I'm just a little bit dubious about how they get all this information back. Because Mars is quite far away, you know? Not as far away as Voyager, but it is far away. Did they send the wild rover? Possibly. Right, let's see what. He doesn't have long to go, so we can.
In the world. Okay, so you see this right here? Well, this is supposedly an image from the rover on Mars. Well, no, it's actually from Ireland. It's the exact same image.
There's no doubt that is the same image, yeah.
Timeshare. Oh, here's some NASA astronauts hanging out on Mars. I mean, Devon Island. This is the research station.
So this guy seems to think that we're already on Mars, and this is obviously what they've done here is they've put down a plan or something for what they would intend to do when they get there and the kind of thing that they would build and, you know, how they would work things out. It looks a bit like from that movie, The Martian, strangely enough. But yeah, so they would kind of do this. And you got to remember that The Martian did have a couple of things right in it, and that Mars does get some really strong winds, you know. So I'm not sure that the kind of materials that they're looking at would bear up to that. But hey, you never know. So we'd have all these. I don't know why it says the HMP Arthur Clarke Mars Greenhouse. Oh, I suppose they call it the Houghton Mars Project. It's not Her Majesty's Prison, Arthur Clarke. So they obviously named that greenhouse after Arthur C. Clarke. Yeah. So this is a kind of fictional, well, allegedly a fictional Mars base, and they'd be looking out there. Yeah, I know that you do think about the thing, don't you, Spencer? Because it's quite like that. It's like you think about it. If you go to the Antarctic or if you go to Mars, you're basically going to be kept indoors all the time because there's no outdoors to really go about. And the Antarctic isn't quite as bad because during the summer you can get out, but during the winter you're probably pretty much restrained to the base. But up there you would have no option but to be restrained to the base, and goodness knows what's lurking in Mars. You know, you never know. Right.
This is the anomaly that was discovered. If you go to cdnuniverse.org with 2 V's, leave the link once again.
Right, so this is allegedly a photograph from Mars, official Mars photo from NASA. And there's the number. So there's the image number, right? So it's a Curiosity rover image, and there's the image number if you want to go and look it up, if you can read that. If not, you can go and find this guy. As I said, it's called the Leak Project. He's got 414,000 subscribers, so he's obviously quite popular, but he hasn't seemed to have done much recently. He does have a Creative Commons license on this material, so we're perfectly entitled to use it. It looks very much like that whale vertebral column as is shown in the bottom picture, which is Devon Island, and we've all seen the little lemming type creature, haven't we? Because there are those kind of things on Devon Island. So there's that kind of thing. So there was the thing that looked like the can of Coke. There's something that looked like a crisp wrapper. So there's all these sorts of things being found, which would tie in with possibly Devon Island, because, you know, I'm sure that at some point one of these guys has accidentally dropped a piece of litter or something like that, and, you know, I'm pretty sure Devon Island isn't as pristine as it could be.
You can see that the Curiosity rover picked up what looks like bones, whale vertebrae column. And I guess whale bones are common in Devon Island. Look at that. That looks virtually identical, even with the coloring skew.
We'll
go over here to Devon Island one more time. We'll zoom in a little bit.
There's not much to see now, I don't think.
Let's do this. Let's change it to
So we've got
satellite. You have it. There right now.
These are nice.
I just don't think they want us to know what it's like. So once again, we get to see images of an island in Canada while they're keeping all the good stuff for themselves and getting paid very, very well at the same time. So, well, I mean, that's the new world order for you.
Well, thank you, the Leak Project. Thank you for that. So I think I've attributed that material to you enough now. Quite happy with that. What do you think, Chaz? What do you think of this? So, what do you think? Do you think we're on Mars, or do you think we are on Mars, but most of the material that they're showing us comes from Devon Island because it's a lot easier to retrieve it? It's just one of these things. Because let's start thinking. Let's think a little bit critically about this, because Mars is quite far away. I mean, if you think about it, the moon's like, if the moon's what? Let's think this through. If the moon, let's do it in time. So if the moon's 250,000 miles away, what's that in hours? If we just made it seconds, so the moon's about what, 66 hours or? No, not, yeah, 66 hours. So the moon would be about 66 hours away, right? Mars, which is between 93 and 200 million miles away, if we take 200 million, it's going to be 6.3 years away, right? So it's quite far away. And then we've got to think about things like the inverse square law, and this is something that's quite interesting, because let me see if this let's see if this comes through on the screen. Right. It's not perfect, but it's not bad actually. It's not bad. Right. So here's the inverse square law, right? So this guy's going to go through the inverse square law. And it's quite interesting, because this applies to the electromagnetic spectrum. Right, so this applies to visible light, and it applies to radio waves exactly the same. Now, the only way that we're going to get communication back from Mars or from the moon is by sending a data stream. And to do that, you've got to perturb the medium and get the wave going and, pick it up on Earth. Now, there's a couple of snags that I just find really hard to believe, because so let's start with the inverse square law. We'll just go through it. So if you've got, basically, when you've got a light source, right, for a given distance, you will get a certain amount of light, right? So as you see, this first distance here, you get this amount of light. Now, when you double the distance, so when you take two of those distances, your light is decreased by 4, right? So instead of shining on one panel, it's now shining on 4. So the amount of light has to spread, or anything has to spread around those 4 panels. And then when you do it again, you've now got 3 times the distance, you've got 9 panels being illuminated by the same point of light. So the further out you go, the quicker your light drops off. Now, if you look at that, at 6 inches, you've got the egg fully illuminated, and then when you get to 48, it's almost in complete darkness, right? Because the light drops off pretty quickly. And that applies to the whole electromagnetic spectrum, because light's just one wee part of that, so it's in the middle, so everything drops really quickly. So the area increases as the intensity. Well, no, the intensity doesn't decrease. The intensity basically stays the same, right? But what happens is that intensity is spread over a further area. So And the next one's quite good. So let's look at the butter gun, right? So if we get down here to the butter gun, right? So if you fire the butter gun at toast at a certain distance, you're going to cover the whole bit of toast, no problem, right? Big thick layer of butter, great. But you step back and fire the butter gun at 4 slices of toast, you cover all 4 slices of toast, fine. But you've decreased the amount of butter that's on that toast by a substantial margin, right? And then when you go back another, 3 times the original distance, you're now covering 9 slices of toast with the same amount of butter. So you're getting less and less butter. Oh, okay. So that's quite interesting. So as I said, it applies right across the electromagnetic spectrum. So that includes radio waves, which they're going to send their data stream on. Now, it can get quite complicated, right? But basically, if you think of sending out a data stream as dropping a pebble in a pond, right? So you drop a pebble in a pond and the waves radiate out. They radiate out in all directions, okay? Because we're not targeting them yet. We're not going into antennas yet, but the waves would radiate out in all directions. And for those waves to go further, you've got to drop a bigger pebble, don't you? You've got to make a bigger splash. And the bigger the splash you make, the further those waves will go, right? So when you got to travel the kind of distances we're talking about, which is like 200 million kilometers or miles or whatever, kilometers or miles, it doesn't really matter because we're now getting to the point that it's going to be inconsequential. You're going to the amount of power that you need ramps up quite dramatically. So you need a lot of power to get your stuff out there. You get your radio waves going down the line, but you've also got other things to compound with as well. So not only is the signal getting smaller and smaller and smaller, because that's what happens to the waves as they go out, the waves get smaller. So the signal's dropping off, and the background noise is increasing proportionally, because the background noise is going to start swamping the signal. So you've really got to put more power in at the other end. So how much power? This is the problem, because I kind of tried to work this out from talking to the moon to the earth, and the power meant you would need something like a battery the size of a Volkswagen to send a signal back. And I don't know how we did that with Apollo. I really don't. And I don't know how we're doing it with Mars, because we're well further away now. They say they're using a really tight beam, right? And we'll get to Voyager in a minute. But they're saying they've got antenna that's pointing at Earth and it's tracking the Earth, and they're sending a tight beam, and then they've got a bigger antenna all over the Earth because... And here's the part, right? Here's the part that we got. Because I'm going to play a clip, right?
It's false. No way.
No,
not this time.
No,
We created it.
not this clip.
No.
Not this
It's
clip,
totally
Jonathan.
pure fiction.
Press the wrong button. Not this time, Jonathan. Right. So I'm going to play a clip, people. And this is how we're moving through space, allegedly, right? Okay. So this was bad enough if you're trying to point an aerial at Earth and send it from Mars. Okay. So you imagine this is how you think about it, orbits. We're orbiting around the sun, and Earth and Mars are in there, and you can see us, But that's not exactly how it is, because this is how it's meant to be, because not only are we going round the Earth, round the sun, the sun's going round the galaxy, and the galaxy's going round the universe, and so we're doing this massive corkscrew through space. Okay? So how do we, and remember, it's not just this, right? Because we are also spinning round at 1,000 miles an hour at the equator. So the Earth's spinning round at 1,000 miles an hour. We are getting dragged across the solar system at 66,000 miles an hour or something like that. and then the sun is hurtling through the rest of the universe at like millions of miles an hour, right? So all that's happening, and we've got a line of communication between Mars and us. And remember, because we don't have that much power on Mars, because it's only using a small nuclear battery or whatever, so we don't have that much power, it takes a long time. So they're sending bits of information, not bytes, bits at a time. Maybe they might be sending, let's say they're sending a 100 bit stream. It takes them ages, and it takes them probably more than a day to get a picture across, because you're going to have to keep sending it and error checking and stitching it together. So yeah, I can understand maybe getting it from Mars, but what I can't understand is Voyager, right? Because apparently they're still sending stuff back from Voyager, and they're still communicating with Voyager. Now, Voyager is 20 million kilometers. Sorry, it's not. Voyager is 20 billion kilometers away from Earth. 20 billion. So on that scale that we had where Mars is like, 6 years away, the moon's 66 hours away, Voyager is 634 years away, right? That's how far away Voyager is. And they say they can communicate with it. They did a software update on it and things like that. How? Because what they said is, we're sending a tight 1-inch beam back to Earth. Right? A 1-inch beam. Remember, 1-inch beam. Now, they're not doing what we're doing, because Voyager is flying out of the solar system, right? So it's just on a trajectory going out the solar system. So let's say it's going straight. It's not doing anything that we're doing, but it's good enough over 20 billion kilometers for it to pull a signal that's going to go back and still hit the Earth that's corkscrewing through space and be picked up by a 20-meter wide antenna. A 20-meter wide antenna from a 1-inch antenna on a spacecraft 20 billion kilometers away. Just think about that. Does that sound right? Does it? I might be wrong. But sometimes you've got to look at things and think, how can that be? And I'm usually quite in favour of science. But see, when you come up with things like that, and it's like, you cannot make a cell phone call from 35,000 feet. But these guys can pick up a data stream from a spacecraft that's 20 billion kilometers away. Really? Really? I mean, I think Mars is a bit of a stretch. And that's why maybe Devon Island's not a bad shout for a lot of the pictures, because to be fair, all NASA's pictures are touched up anyway, because they're usually all composites. There isn't they stitch everything together, because everything they've got up there is generally too close to the Earth to get a picture of the Earth. That's the problem. So they have to take separate snapshots and then stitch everything together. So it's like, why would you go to all that bother of trying to clog up all your bandwidth and sending pictures back when you know what it looks like and you can just kind of use Devon Island? So if it's there, if it's on Mars, I think most of the pictures probably do come from Devon Island. If it's on Mars, I'm sure they've got some pictures that have come from Mars, but it won't be as many as they put out. I don't know how the hell they control a helicopter on Mars. Well, they can't control it. It would have to be autonomous, but I just find it a bit of a stretch, you know. It's a bit of a stretch, and the whole landing thing was just a disaster waiting to happen, wasn't it? You know, go into a hover, drop the thing down on a, you know, wind it down on its little rope, and then cut the rope and then fly away and crash, so as you didn't land on the thing that you just dropped. Yeah. Could they have dropped signal repeaters on the way to... Well, where would you put them? Spencer? The problem is, everything's moving through space. How are you going to keep them in one place? Because if we're travelling along at 66,000, you know, kilometres or an hour or miles an hour, and you drop a thing behind you, right? Okay, it's got the initial speed, and it's not going to slow down unless it hits something, so you've got that, right? But at that point, it's here, and it might have been in line of sight of the Earth at that point, but remember, the Earth's corkscrewing, right? So if it's sending a beam to here, and the Earth's down here, nobody's picking it up. This is the part I don't understand. I don't actually understand how the North Star doesn't move, because if we're corkscrewing through space, right? How come the North Star doesn't move? Because if you're corkscrewing through space, right? Yeah, I mean, look the North. If you're pointing at the North Star and you're corkscrewing, you're all over the place. You don't have a North Star that should stay in the same place. How come? How does that work? I mean, I might be stupid. I probably am. But how can a star be in a fixed position when the Earth isn't? Unless the star's exactly replicating the route that we're taking through space. That's a big stretch. Big stretch. So what do you think? Any questions? Any other questions? A 9-minute delay? Yeah, there probably is a 9-minute delay. It's a fair distance. Have to be programmed like Big Track. Yeah, it probably would. I just don't know. I don't know how they do the call. I don't know. I mean, it's hard enough understanding how they do the comms without them even thinking about going there, really. Oh, who's this? Barabadaba. That's a cracking name. The last few years have caused me to question the official narrative on everything. Theories have been taught as fact for such a long time, it seems. Well, that's very true. Very, very true indeed. Because if you think about it, all these theories that are now falling into disarray are like, you know, I mean, the Big Bang Theory. Remember, that was thought out by a Jesuit priest, so he's got a kind of... I mean, and he's just basically taken religion, hasn't he? He's just taken religion and made it science. Because, you know, let there be light on one hand and there was a big bang. It's the same thing, isn't it? So he's come up with the same theory, and then everybody's going, oh, that seems plausible, something out of nothing. You know, that happens all the time. I mean, you know what it's like. You walk into the kitchen and suddenly there's a full bowl of apples there because nobody bought them and put them there. They just appeared. Happens all the time. Yeah, and I know we're talking quantum, but are we? Is quantum real? Is it? And it's like I was talking about I was talking about, what was I talking about the other day? Particle physicists, they've lost it as well. They're now dreaming up virtual particles. So not content with the theoretical physicists and the cosmologists going on about dark matter and dark energy, particle physicists have now dreamed up virtual particles that may or may not exist, but allow things to happen that can't actually possibly happen. So crazy. Yeah, you did. You made me laugh as well. Ben says he's having an existential crisis. Whilst I have quit drinking, he may take it up. Perhaps there is a new version of the Montauk chair, and maybe the Montauk chair is still in operation. Maybe the Mars jump chair still exists. Maybe they are just going to Mars on the jump chair. Who knows? because it's like, I mean, Musk is on about going to Mars and expanding and things like that, but he's never even been up in his own rocket. That seems to me to display a lack of confidence in the product. I mean, he's been in his own cars, but he hasn't been up in his own rocket, has he? What about the moon laser? What about the moon laser, Robin? Do you want to talk about? Are you talking about the reflector, the laser reflector that the Apollo people put on the moon? Now, I did work this one out, right? And remember, this was This was before 1970 they went to the moon, right? Or the very early 70s. Okay, so the stuff we've got now wasn't there around then, right? So they put the laser reflector on the moon, right? And if you fire a laser at it, you get a bounce back off it. Okay, now the laser reflector is what, 30 centimeters across or something? Okay. So if you work out the beam spread on a pretty standard scientific blue or green laser at that time, right, the beam spread would have been about a mile wide by the time it hit the moon. But because lasers don't stay. They look good over short distances, yeah, and even long distances, but not when you're talking 250,000 miles. So the beam spread by the time you hit the moon is a mile, and by the time it comes back, it's 5 miles. Inverse square law in operation. So you're bouncing a 1 mile wide beam off a 30 centimeter target to come back and be picked up by what? A 5 mile wide receiver? So you're only getting a tiny part of that laser beam back. I used to believe in the moon landing as well. I did. But I think it was too big a risk for America to fail at that. So I think they had to do it, or pretend to do it, and say, yeah, we did it. But I don't think they couldn't have risked putting the people up there. So I think they went up in the spaceship. They orbited round remember, it only took them 3 days to get to the moon. They spent a day and a half there and then 3 days back. So they were up and down in less than 10 days. Right? Now it took the Indian one like 6 weeks to get to the moon. Where the hell did that go? If these guys could get there in 3 days, how does India take 6 weeks to get there? Did they go and did they go and open a curry stall halfway between here and the moon? I mean, that's just ridiculous. It really is. So where the hell was it? Anyway, and then talking about Musk, because Musk is building the lander for the moon, for the Artemis mission. How long is it going to take them? I mean, it took Artemis, what did it take them? It took them about 10 days or something to get round the moon. Why? Why does it take so long? What's going on? We never went to the moon, did we? We've never been. Might have went with autonomous vehicles, but we've never been, and nobody set foot on the moon. The Indian one went to see Lord Vishnu first, possibly, yeah. Wouldn't the radiation in Van Allen belt also affect radio comms and make it all staticky? Yeah, well, yeah, but what would it do to your internal organs and your brain and your eyes and things like that? I mean, they don't even talk about... Remember when they were doing the press conference? Oh, I don't remember. Did we go through the Van Allen belts? I don't know. No, they didn't, because they only went up into high Earth orbit, did a couple of laps, and then come back down. Really? Especially, Dave, you seen it when they were faking the... And that's the slam dunk for me, when they were faking the thing on the capsule, to make it seem as if the Earth was a lot further away. I don't know enough about it, Spencer, to know if the belt would, if radiation would interfere. I don't see. I think radiation would interfere with the mechanism of making or receiving the call at the point. Okay, so if radiation was there while you were trying to make the call, yeah, it could interfere with your phone or whatever, right? But I think if your phone is, if the signal is traveling through a place where there is, say, say there's a radiation leak in your phone signal there's a radiation leak between your phone signal and the cell tower, I think your signal goes through, because I don't think the radiation messes up the waves that much. But hey. Explore with the L's. There's a new name as well. That's cool. Yeah, that faking in the capsule, you can't excuse that. That was a cracker, yeah. I mean, there's no way of getting around it. No way of getting around it. How did the mains figure that out so long ago? The one that gets me isn't even the mains, it's the Dogons, right? So the Dogons are a tribe in Central Africa. And the other guys that wear the funny hats and things that look a bit like spacesuits, and have weird dances. But those guys, those guys know that Sirius A and B is a twin star system. You can't see Sirius B with the naked eye. So how do they know it's a twin star system? How? And they've known about it since before we knew it was a twin star system. That's the thing. So there was a previous, there had to have been a previous technological civilization that suffered a catastrophic failure, something along the lines of a great flood or something like that, I think there definitely has been a previous technological civilization. There's no way around it. There's just too much, and we've forgotten so much. And the problem is, as well as forgetting so much, the problem is people will willfully not see what's going on. They will willfully not see what's going on in the world around them, and won't consider that some of the things that people... I mean, let's face it, the Roman concrete was a lot better than ours, wasn't it? The Colosseum's still standing. History is a lie, because history is only ever taught by it's only ever recorded and taught by the victors, so really, if you want to change history, you change history. I mean, look at the Americans, they changed history, didn't they? The Gulf of Tonkin never happened, right? Never happened. But for the last 50 years it did. And now suddenly it's been released that, oh well, actually it actually never happened. So that conspiracy theory is not a conspiracy theory, it's fact. Good evening, Dreadeye. Good evening. Oh, an FOI for the Geiger counter data on the 20... that's a cool one. Artemis rocket that orbited the moon and returned with dummies was refused as it was a national... How is that a national security issue? I don't understand. How can that possibly be a national security issue? Because I know it's Team America World Police, but it now appears to be Team America Solar System Police. That's incredible. Yeah, that would be good. No, right, okay, right. Robin, you've picked that up wrong. Picked that up wrong when I was talking about... I was using an analogy for distance with time, right? So when I said, if we think about 1 second, right, then so you can imagine the distances. So the distance to the moon would be 66 hours. It wouldn't take you 66 hours to get there, but if 1 second is our thing that we're using for measuring, right? Then the moon would be 66 hours away. Mars would be 634 years away. It's just to give you an idea of how far away things are. And Voyager would be 634 years away. Mars was six years away. So, just to give you the distance. Just to give you an idea of distance, that was all. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to confuse you with that. Yeah, because it would be too high and prove the moon landings were fake. Well, yeah, it's still, yeah, I suppose it would. It would just make, it would probably be a national, it's probably more in the interest of national embarrassment because they would have to admit that we actually didn't go to the moon. Imagine if it was proven they lied about the moon landings. Yeah, I mean, it would be, the thing is, if it happened, that we didn't go to the moon and it comes out, then, you know, you can't ever say anything's a conspiracy theory again. All you can say is, well, it's not proven or it's yet to be proven correct. Yeah. Good night, Ben. So yeah, I don't know. I don't. Well, we've actually done about 45 minutes of show. That's not bad. That's not bad. Is there anything else we want to cover? Let me just. What was it? Yeah, and just to recap on the inverse square law. Let's see. Yeah. Communication system. That means if you are twice as far away, the signal is only 1/4 as strong. If you're 3 times as far away, the signal is only 1/9 as strong. This relationship is known as the inverse square law of electromagnetic propagation. There you go. So, quite interesting. Well, I found it quite interesting. So I think that probably does kind of wrap it up. Good night, the real. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Is there anything else you want to cover before I let you go about your Saturday evening? And it's been very kind of you to join me here. Thank you. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll give you a couple of seconds to respond in the chat. Remember, if you ever feel that you wish to drop us a donation, you can also always do so at ko-fi.com/Chasing Dissent or patreon.com/Chasing Dissent. Julie will have to watch it back as she was late to the party. That's fine. I came on early, Julie. It's earlier than I normally am, and it's just a little dabble into Devon Island and NASA, and you know, has any of you guys ever been out at Rocket Park at Kennedy and looked at the capsules and things like that? When you look at the Gemini, and remember, these guys were meant to be on this thing for like 10, 12, 18 hours or whatever as they circumnavigated the Earth, and you can barely fit in them. You can barely fit in them. I mean, I don't know what you're meant to achieve. They're just absolutely ridiculous. Oh. Anyway, I think that's us. Thank you. I hope it's been good. It was good for me. It'd be good for you.
Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave. 6 feet deep under, but my body won't decay. Cause my messages are timeless, so they'll put them on display. Oh yeah, I rap with a certainty, I have a sense of urgency. A message for eternity, for everyone internally. I had some people burning me, but now they fucking learn to see I ain't the one to fuck with. Now they looking nervously, and I don't really care what you think of me respectfully. You can kick rocks if you think you're fucking better, see. I will outwork you, turn you to an enemy. Hurt you so bad that you're gonna need some therapy. I got the motherfucking recipe. I've been cooking up hits, I'ma leave a legacy. You'll be looking small when you're standing right next to me. I'm 5'10", bitch, but I'm 10 feet next to me. I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks. I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yeah, I'ma do it my way.
I can't contain it, I'm coming out with a statement. You really changed, man, all your music and arrangement. You don't know shit, shut your mouth, you can save it. I'm the same dude that got his come up from the basement. 100 songs, 100 weeks, didn't change it. Experiments, development, intelligence, and patience. I'll do it all again, cause I never feel complacent. Let's keep the good vibes, positivity's contagious. I'm never looking back, cause I made a life that's passionate. A college graduate suppressing all his talents, yeah. He found a way to go and change, become an advocate. For taking control of your life, go out and battle. And you think you have a dream, then act on it. Get after it, get out your head and fucking capture it. You got one life to master it. Don't give up on your future, we all start losers. We're all late bloomers, gotta struggle through the sewer.
What you say? Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make.